Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important things that we must do tonight is to take lessons from the victory of Kargil, the victory in the Kargil War. You see, the Kargil War was a result of our long-term engagement. Preceding that, the circumstances leading to the Kargil War were the result of a long-term engagement with Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, previous governments continued to engage with Pakistan. And the fact of the matter is that despite decisively beating the Pakistanis and defeating the Pakistanis in 1971, we ended up giving them the strategic advantages in the Shimla agreement. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee also made the big mistake of trying the dialogue approach with the completely false start with the Lahore bus yatra. And I believe that when you engage Pakistan more than you should, that leads to a situation inimical to our interest, and then Kargil happened. From a strategic standpoint, the most important thing that the Kargil War has taught us is that we must stop engagement with Pakistan. 25 years on since the Kargil War, we have had 2 surgical strikes on Pakistan. We have had air strikes in Balakot and a substantial expansion of border infrastructure, a 14-time increase in our defense budget, and a clear policy of zero engagement with a terrorist state called Pakistan, which has made the situation in Jammu and Kashmir much better than before. What Kargil represents for us is the determination of our forces that when given a free hand, operational word being free hand to hit back, whether in 71 or in Kargil, whenever the army has been given a free hand on 3 fronts: decision, execution, and strategy. And I must re-emphasize the third, because sometimes politicians think they know better, but they don't. And I can say clearly, as someone who says nation first, we must respect the ability of the army to decide, to execute, and importantly, to strategize. When we respect the military of our country enough to give them a free hand in decision making and support them with the right infrastructure and guide them with the right leadership, they always come through. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, as I begin the debate tonight and before a flashback on Kargil, and I have a wonderful panel with Kargil war heroes, with veterans and family members of veterans, I must re-emphasize that the big lesson is respect the army, give it the resources, believe in the army, and give the army, the military, the freedom and the ability to not just execute but also decide and strategize when it comes to national defense. Let's debate.
लद्दाख की ये महान धरती कारगिल विजय के 25 वर्ष पूरे होने की साक्षी बन रही है। कारगिल विजय दिवस हमें बताता है कि राष्ट्र के लिए दिए गए बलिदान अमर होते हैं।
The nation today marks the 25th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas.
In the Kargil War of 1999, the war that was fought between India and Pakistan, and one big machine that played a bigger role to turn the war in favor of India, and that was this: Bofors. The war was fought here when the Pakistani intruders, the Pakistani terrorists tried to seize domination of the Indian heights in the winters, and those intruders were spotted by one shepherd who had gone up to the hills to look for his yak.
On this day, a grateful Bharat unites together one more time to remember the brave hearts who defeated infiltrating forces of Pakistan back in 1999. It wasn't an easy battle that our forces fought in Kargil. The war had a heavy price to pay.
this is the point 3 over climbing, that is they are going from 90 degree to 120 degree. These all have been inducted in the Kargil Battle School post 1999 Kargil War.
But it was the indomitable spirit of our forces that led us through to victory. And Paramveer Chakra, Subedar Major Yogendra Yadav, who took 17 bullets for his country, stands as a witness to that very undying spirit. Listen in.
ये आप पीछे जो देख रहे टाइगर हिल, ये वो टाइगर हिल है जिसके ऊपर देश ही नहीं बल्कि पूरी दुनिया का एक निगाहें थी कि पाकिस्तान की फ़ौज ने इसके ऊपर बहुत मजबूती के साथ अपना जमावड़ा किया हुआ था, कब्जा किया हुआ था। लेकिन हिंदुस्तान के सैनिक कंधे से कंधा और कदम से कदम मिलाते हुए इस पहाड़ी के शिखरों पर, चोटियों पर चढ़ते रहे, लड़ते रहे, संघर्ष करते रहे, चेहरों से खून टपकता रहा, दुश्मन की भारी गोलाबारी होती रही, लेकिन उनके पैरों में कभी जान कम नहीं हुई, हिम्मत बढ़ती रही, क्योंकि देश, पूरा देश की आवाम इन सैनिकों के साथ खड़ी थी।
It was the valor of our frontline soldiers and our brave commanders who led from the front that made even the challenging peaks of Dras bow down. 25 years on, and our forces continue with the same spirit. Forces who have immortalized the spirit of nation first.
I welcome a very special panel on the 25th Kargil Vijay Divas. I want to quickly introduce our guest, Lieutenant General P.J.S. Pannu, is former Deputy Chief of the Integrated Defence Staff, ladies and gentlemen, and he is joining us tonight. General G.D. Bakshi, you all know him very well, Sena Medal, awarded a Vishesh Seva Medal for leading a battalion during a less publicized confrontation with Pakistan in Kargil in the year 1987. Brigadier Amul Asthana is with us this evening. He was an officiating commanding officer and second in command of 1/11 Grenadiers, bravest of the brave in Operation Vijay in 1999. He was Lieutenant Colonel then at that time. And this was the first unit to be inducted into the Operation Vijay situation on 9th May 99. I'm also joined this evening by Captain Deepak Gulati from the Artillery Regiment. Ladies and gentlemen, he served as a gun position in Batalik sector, providing artillery support to 3 Punjab, 1 Bihar, 17 Garhwal and 10 para-special forces in the capture of the very strategically important Jubar complex at that time. I'm also joined by family members of some of our greatest Kargil war heroes. I have with us Jeffrey Nongrum, who's the brother of Captain Clifford Nongrum, Mahavir Chakra. And he was, as we all know, tasked to assault feature on point 4812 from the southeastern direction in Batalik. And it was his column, Captain Nongrum's column, that achieved success in capturing point 4812, changing the direction of the war. And my first question this evening is to G.L. Batra, father of Captain Vikram Batra. We all know Paramveer Chakra. And we all know about Captain Vikram Batra's contribution to Operation Vijay. We all know that he was tasked to capture point 5140 in Tras, which is now known as Gun Hill. It is now known as Gun Hill to pay tribute to the supreme sacrifice of the gunners in the Kargil War of 1999. Ladies and gentlemen, to tell us more about him and about what flashbacks, what memories they all have on the 25th anniversary. You know, Mr. Batra, how quickly time flies. How quickly time flies, you know. And 25 years have passed. I'd like to begin with your thoughts on this 25th anniversary, your thoughts about your son, about other Kargil war heroes, and generally, overall today. Mr. Batra, if I can start with you, sir. Can you hear me, sir, Mr. Batra? I think I have lost the line. I have just been informed now. Okay, I was told the call dropped, and therefore I'd like to take that same question to Jeffrey Nongrum. Jeffrey, if you can hear me, can you hear me? I just want to first make sure that the line is clear with you. We all know about the achievements of your brother. Can you tell us your thoughts on the 25th anniversary, about what your brother did, and your thoughts as 25 years have passed today? Can you unmute yourself, please? Yeah. It would be great if this was done in advance. Thank you, please. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So, thank you so much, Arnab, and thank you, Republic TV, for having me in your channel. So, on this occasion of 25th Kargil Vijay Divas, I should say 25 years is a very long time, actually. But the memory of the war, the memory of Clifford in our mind, in our family, is as fresh as yesterday. So our thoughts, of course, on this occasion is that we could still remember, of course, every year on Clifford's birthday, and also on the day he made the supreme sacrifice for our country. We always we have a small family prayer service that we had been doing for the last 25 years, and on a daily basis, I think if whatever Clifford did on the 1st of July, that is 1999, and the news which we got, that is really very fresh in our mind, and we can say that he was here in Shillong for the last time on his holiday on the 7th of March, after his posting at Siachen Glaciers. He had come back home for 1 month leave. He was very, very happy, and he spent 1 full month in the fullest, we can say. He had met all the family members, and of course, by that time we were totally unaware that something something like this would happen. That means the Kargil War. But it was only after that when he had left, and in the month of May, that we got to know that the war has broke up, and we were actually kind of tense also that time, because we didn't get any news of what whether he was deployed to the field or not, into the battlefield or not. But somewhere in the back of my mind, we know that he is there in the field, because he's from the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, and he is already acclimatized to that type of that terrain and situation. So we, at the back of our mind, we knew that he was already in the field, but we were worried also, we didn't get any news of how he is and where he's actually posted. But it's only on the 26th of June that when the Prime Minister announced that there will be a satellite phone for the army personnel, for the Jawan, and to call their family, that we got a call on the 26th of July at around 11 p.m. And on that day, my parents could speak to him, my mother and father, and I could say that Clifford had actually, on that last telephonic discussion, he had assured the parents not to worry, and he was deployed to the field, but and he had also won lots of capture many posts in the area, but he assured that he is absolutely fine, and he might not be deployed back again to the field. But at the same time, he also had told my parents that he was also very sad, because some of his friends and colleagues and also had made a supreme sacrifice during the war. So that was the last time when Clifford had called our parents and called back home, and it was only on the 1st of July that we got the news that he had made a supreme sacrifice for the country.
How old was he?
He was 25 years of age.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just have one simple thought tonight. We speak so much about politics in this country. We make simple things complex, and we often forget the spirit of nationalism. Today, we must all salute people like Captain Clifford Nongrum. Ladies and gentlemen, Clifford Nongrum from Shillong. We talk about things that divide us as a country. Today we honor the sacrifice of Captain Keshing Clifford Nongrum from Shillong, who served in the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, and who at the age of 25, just about 2 years after being commissioned into the army, laid down his life for the country. Hats off to you, and for what you are doing to keep remembering his sacrifice. We need to remember that, and I have a strong connection with you because I've studied in Shillong. I am from the Northeast myself, and this is just incredible. Every time I hear the story of Clifford, I feel inspired, and more so, if I can say so, Jeffrey, because some of us who are on the program tonight, we'd all be around the same age as Clifford was at that time. And we owe everything we have got in our life to people like him. I'd like to next go across to Mr. Batra. Mr. Batra, can you hear me now? This is Arnab here. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir,
Captain Vikram,
sir,
after passing out from IMA Dehradun, he reported at Jabalpur Regimental Center, and then he was posted at Sopore, district Baramulla, Kashmir. And he had a few encounters with the militants also, which he did it successfully. And during this period, he completed his bio course at MAU with alpha grading, and then commando course at Belgaum with the instructor's grade. After that, their unit was posted at, they got the posting at Shahjahanpur in UP. But before they could proceed for the Shahjahanpur, they were ordered to report there at Dras, Kargil, because the war has been started. So he was very happy that he is getting the chance so early. He got 2 missions and he accomplished 2 missions. First was the 5140. There he killed 4 persons and he destroyed the 2 bunkers of the Pakistanis, and he gave his success signal, "Ye dil mange more." And the most important thing was here in 5140 mission that there was no casualty on our side. His second mission was 4875. At the time before proceeding, he was suffering with fever and a chest pain, but still he volunteered himself for the 4875 mission. Here I should like to reveal that he was recommended for Mahavir Chakra, second in hierarchy, but he wanted to do something. He was not satisfied with that much only, and then he volunteered for himself for 4875. At 4875, when they were fighting, he is one of the junior officers, Lieutenant Naveen Nagappa. He was in front and he was injured by a grenade blast. His 4 limbs, the muscles were ruptured, and he was shrieking with the pain. Vikram heard his shriekings and he said that we have to bring him to safe place. His Subidar, he just wanted to go, but he said, "No, you will not go, I will go." He jumped out of the bunker, he went there, he brought Naveen to the safer place, and then he continued his fight. There he killed 5 persons, 3 persons, and after getting injured, again he killed 2 persons altogether alone. Some Pakistani soldier was hiding in some rock side, so he targeted him and he shooted him in the chest, and he could not succumb to the injuries, and he got the martyrdom there. So looking to this such bravery, the government of India awarded him the Paramveer Chakra.
Mr. Batra, what was the last time you spoke to him? And what did he say then?
He has given 2 phone calls to us during that period. First was from the 5140 when he captured it. So in the morning, he gave us a telephonic call. That was through the satellite phone, and he said, "Daddy, I have captured." So I was a bit confused. He would not have been captured. So then when he judged that I am a bit confused, so he said, "Daddy, don't worry, I have recaptured our peak 5140. I think that was the happiest moment of my life. And second time, before proceeding for 4875, he gave me the call, and then he inquired about his brothers, sisters, and all his friends. And then he proceeded for the 4875. I got his letter after his martyrdom. That letter was written on 5th July, and that I got after the casualty. He has written that I have captured 5140 successfully, and you pray to God that I should be successful in my second operation too.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have no words to express how we feel about Captain Vikram Batra. A couple of thoughts come to my mind, and I just want to encapsulate them in a couple of sentences. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing is the spirit that he represented. When saying, Ye dil mange more than just the words, it was the spirit. Second, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Indian Army officer leads from the front, unlike the Pakistanis. Our other guests can tell us more about that. And viewers, finally, Captain Vikram Batra killed 5 enemy soldiers in a hand-to-hand combat before his martyrdom. So that is the spirit of the Indian Army officer, and we salute Captain Vikram Batra, the hero of Kargil today. Thank you, Mr. Batra. Do stay on with us. I'm taking rounds to go across to several of our guests today. And before I go to our next guest, I'd like to go to General Pannu. General Pannu, can you hear me? You were in the Uri sector during Operation Vijay. We're hearing these stories today. For many of our viewers today who would not have known or who were too young to really have any living memory of Kargil, can you tell us the significance of that victory, of that operation, how difficult it was, and the kind of sacrifices that were made by these young war heroes at that time, since you saw it and were part of it from such close quarters?
Thank you, Arnab. Jai Hind. Today is a very pious day, and we celebrate, of course, the victory of our battle in Kargil 25 years back. But it gives me a great honor that today I also share the platform with 2 brave hearts, brother of Captain Nongrum and father of Captain Batra. It's a great honor to be here on this show along with them. I was also 14 Corps Commander much later when I visited most of these areas myself. And of course, walking was very tough, but even when I went in a helicopter, I used to find that my helicopter looked like a mosquito in front of these big peaks that we had to go. It was extremely, extremely difficult, and I really wonder and imagine and shudder the way the battles would have been fought single-handedly by some of these youngsters in the isolated posts without communication and without much support at that time, because the time and the uniqueness of the battle is such that there was a background and a hope of peace that the 2 nations thought that they would pursue. But both nations had also very recently tested the nuclear bomb. And therefore, one expected that because of the nuclear checkmate and because of the hope of peace that our Prime Minister was pursuing, there would be no war. But after 71, when the LC had been declared as a signed line on an agreement signed by both sides, one did not expect this kind of war to take place. But having said that, in 1984, our Siachen victory was not taken well by the Pakistanis. And at that time, in 1990s, when they were pursuing proxy war in Pakistan, they realized that they will not be able to do much in the Kashmir Valley, and they have to open another front. And I think that is what made Pakistan backstab India on the hope of peace and the initiative of peace. And then you spoke about my tenure as a battalion commander in Uri. I think Pakistan Army has a trait. They use the terrorists, they use anything or any cannon fodder which is a low-cost option for them. They have always used a low-cost option to fight a war and threaten with the nuclear bomb. And that is exactly what they were doing even during Kargil, that they constantly severatled about their possession of a nuclear bomb. And later on, they went in for a tactics of saying that it is not a nuclear bomb, but they will use a tactical nuclear weapon, which is not a real nuclear way of threatening largely. So they will be able to manage things and therefore threaten India. And then possibly had a hope that they would win the Kargil and then expect India to come on a negotiating table on a back foot. But all this did not happen because the seasoned soldiers, the regimentation, the Naam, Nishan, Namak, and the kind of honor that every soldier has, and Jazba, as they say, that they have in their mind, I think they went and did what is now that we are talking about 25 years later as a victory. So therefore, when you look at the kind of war that we have been fighting with Pakistan, has been that we have been respecting the line of control. We have not done much as far as speaking about what we did beyond the line of control, but we always made sure that we respect the line of control, and that is exactly what we were even doing in Kargil. We lost a number of officers who were leading from the front. I lost a captain who was fighting in the front, and my mind always went to Captain Saurabh Kalia, that when he was sent to verify the information of the grazier or a shepherd who came down to say that, hey, listen, there is some movement there. And later on, it was realized that it was not only the irregulars, it was actually the Pakistan army soldier and the Pakistan military units, which, with the grandiose plan hatched by General Musharraf at that time, who was the chief, it was a national plan. And I think there were fissures within Pakistan. The mullahs, the political establishment, and the military, I think, had very, very different pulls and the interests in that at that time. And I think military was losing its sheen, even within their own establishment. Military was also very emboldened because in 1997-98, the Northern Alliance had been defeated to a point that the Pakistan Army participated in it, and they felt that America would be very thankful to them and support them fully in whatever they do. So they also pulled out certain people, certain soldiers who were also irregulars. They made them into some kind of a force with the Northern Light Infantry. They pushed them up, but also the FCNA, that the forward, frontier, the forward FCNA wings that they employed in the entire area. And whatever winter vacated posts were there, I think they started their operation in mind and in thought. They were planned already in place when our Prime Minister was actually crossing the Wagah border and going to Lahore. I think the soldiers were already pretty much marching into the areas and occupy certain areas. And I think by April, they had started getting into their positions. It was also revealed much later that they went up into certain areas, and they also came down to Dras today, where the war memorial is and the ceremonies take place. And as today, the ceremony did take place there. Right above that war memorial is the Tololing Heights. The Shakma sector, from where they have been shelling the National Highway 1, was the main indication that the Pakistan is completely looking into the areas of Kargil and is overlooking our defenses. And they started using the artillery to target the National Highway. And then subsequently, it was the combination of capturing of these posts, so occupying the areas, and then using artillery to very precisely target. So I think there are a huge amount of sentiments that we were backstabbed, but there was a nuclear war hang where this battle was being fought, which was, of course, very, very bravely fought by the youngsters and the soldiers who were seasoned and well regimented.
Yes. And today I'll end with General Bakshi to tell us whether a situation like this can happen ever in the future. But before I do so, I want to get some anecdotes on what happened at the time of Kargil. So first I'd like to go to Brigadier Amul Asthana. He was the officiating CO and the second in command of the unit, which was the first to be inducted into the Operation Vijay situation. This was on 9th May 1999. Tell me what happened on that day. How did the mobilization happen? What was the first reaction like? And can you share any one or two anecdotes which may inspire people 25 years hence?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on Republic TV. And I must admit, this is the first time I'm on TV and definitely a little bit nervous.
So,
thank you. And of course, the first thing is I would like to salute all the heroes who have laid down their lives for our great nation. Going back to the 9th of May, we were in the process of de-inducting from the glacier, Siachen Glacier, and going onwards to Pune, which is where we were headed for the next posting of the unit. What happens is, at that time, you return your sector weapons, your maps, all your medical detachment, your cold clothing, radio sets, all that is returned, and then you're moving towards Pune. And from this point onwards, we were inducted into this situation, and very little was known about where the enemy is. Now, this is Batalik. Batalik is not on the road. It is 6, 10, even 3 to 4 days away from the road. So all movement was on foot. The first thing we were told was to secure the immediate heights that were overlooking Daha, which was on the roadhead. And from there onwards, started our operations, firstly, to arrest the ingress of the enemy. So we branched out to a number of features that were overlooking the Yaldur Nala, around which we had to do the clearing. Thereafter, we had to recover 2 patrols of the holding units which had been ambushed. We went onwards about 12 kilometers away from the roadhead towards the line of control. We recovered these 2 patrols, and thereafter started the capturing and recapturing of all the heights. There were a number of heights going on towards the line of control. On the eastern side was the Khalubar ridgeline. On the western side was Kukarthang, and further west was the Jubar area. Now, this took a lot of time. And like I mentioned, the weapons which we required, heavy weapons, mortars, rocket launchers, machine guns, all these were not available. Radio sheds. After all, if you're sending out a patrol, you need to talk to them. So these were a number of challenges which we faced in the beginning. And later on, when the porters and ponies came up somewhere around 20 days later, that is when we got our ammunition, our weapons, clothing, food. That was a very major issue. And thereafter commenced another phase of the battle. Our advance party, which was in Pune, the League parties which were in Pune, we were about 600 of them. They came back to us. We were back to good strength. And the rest of the operations continued thereafter. All the way up to, starting from 8th of May, till the last capture, like this picture is of that, of 26th of July, around 80 days later, we continued in this combat for about 80 continuous days. So this is, in short, what this battle was about. When you talk about anecdotes, of course, Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, initially he was my immediate junior. So I had about 19 years, he had about 2 years, and in between there was a big gap because all officers had gone down to Pune, etc., etc. All those had come back. My commanding officer, Colonel Lalit Rai, was back. And this whole operation was fought under very great leadership of my commanding officer and Brigadier Devendra Singh, who I think made all the difference to this Batalik sector, vast Batalik sector, very far away from the road, extremely rugged. So I credit both of them, besides Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey.
Well, I must say that I'm so amazed. First of all, you've come for first time on television. We are grateful that you have. You've described it very well. But what amazes me, Brigadier, is that you have said that for 20 days you did not have all that you needed. Your reinforcements had not come, even your food supplies, equipment was not with you, but the way you held on and the way you fought on and the way you won is totally awe-inspiring. Brigadier, I wish I could stay for longer with you, but I have to go at this stage to Captain Deepak Gulati. Now, Captain Gulati, we are getting these wonderful stories. Everyone's sharing the strategic insights. You were Also, you are an artillery officer, you were the gun position officer in the Batalik sector, and you were providing RT support to 3 Punjab, 1 Bihar, 17 Garhwal and Para Special Forces. What was the situation? What did this mean in real terms? Like you were pinning down the enemy firing and allowing our infantry units to move up. How was it happening, and what was the morale in the team at that time?
Arnab, good evening. Before I move ahead to answer your question, I thank you first of all for inviting me to this esteemed panel of senior officers, and I salute all the brave hearts of Operation Vijay and their families, especially to those who made the supreme sacrifice in the line of service to the nation. I will first of all start with this thing that since I was a young officer with 9 months of service, and I was hardly with any unit life because I went for Bios and immediately came and joined as a GPO. And I was describe it in a way that the artillery displayed truth, what we call it Hindi Sach, Sach, S-A-C-H, speed, accurate, continuous and heavy fire. The truth, this Sach, could not be absorbed or taken by the enemy, and they had to flee. And this Sach is what made the artillery evolve as a fighting arm, which was earlier considered as a support arm. So now coming on to your question, that what were the tasks of I as a GPO gun position officer had. Firstly, when I joined gun position, I had come from Vayu. The things were much ready. There was one Subedar Akaiji, I would like to name his name, Mr. E.P.S. Narayanan, who had done very well at the gun position. Since I was the officer, when I joined, I took over from him. And we both of us actually worked together from our gun position at Batalik, location cannot be told here. And firstly, this attack which has gone, there were teams of 5 para and 10 para which went to the Zubar. Earlier, the estimation of the enemy strength was not very clear. So there was some attack was not successful that time. Later on, when the true picture start coming in, then the artillery fire, there was 100 gun concept introduced by the commanders at higher level. They used to call Milky Round. I will talk now about 4-field regiment. My 4-field regiment, this gun position which was at Batalik, provided support to 3 Punjab for defensive role because they were regularly being fired upon from point 4927 and Sangrudi top. And for attack on Zubar complex, Zubar, like Brigadier Aana said, this Zubar, Kukarthang, Khalubar, this entire ridge, Zubar and East, this was strategically very important in Batalik because here the enemy has come in, it has come to 6 to 8 kilometers, I believe.
Yeah.
So capture of Zubar was very, very crucial, very, very crucial. And to enemy to advance in such an hospitable terrain, you need to pin down the enemy continuously. So day and night, the rounds were fired. Day and night, the artillery fire was provided to the advancing infantry, whether it is first Bihar when they captured Zubar. In their second attempt in between 29 to 6 July, I believe, Zubar was captured. So providing effective artillery fire, continuous, heavy, accurate and speedy, that was the thing. There was a situation when the barrel used to become red hot. The 105 guns barrel used to become red hot. And we used to do like, desi tarike. We used to use bed sheets, towels, everything we can get, we'll wet it and put on barrels because we have to get ready to fire again. Because the requirement of fire was continuous. So everybody without food, water, they were just firing gunners, loading ammunition. And the sense of urgency was there. So enemy was pinned down, and these 2 POWs which were of 5 NLI which were captured from Zubar complex, and when our OP officer, I will name his name, Captain Sachidanand Pandey, now Colonel, full Colonel, and Sena Medal. He went with first BR. When they captured these two POWs, see, they were hardly, they were yak. They saw the yak was eaten all up because their supply line, food, logistic, everything was destroyed. So such was the enemy fire. And these two POW, they said कि जब हिंदुस्तान का तोपें फायर करती थी तो हमारे ऊपर का आसमान लाल हो जाता था और हमारी रूहें कांप जाती थी.
Amazing.
That is what this version of POW.
Amazing.
So that is how the artillery has pinned them down.
Yeah, yeah.
That is how
Amazing.
the artillery has evolved as a fighting arm from this.
Absolutely, truly. Pinning down with heavy, relentless artillery fire. That moment must have been something which is embedded in your mind, and I can almost relive it. You must be reliving it. As you are reliving it, I can imagine what you're putting an accurate picture of what happened. We are sort of visualizing in our mind as well. General Bakshi, today I have made you wait, and I have also made Captain Akhilesh wait, but I'm sure you won't mind this. General Bakshi, all these anecdotes and memories are coming in. What the nation wants to know is, one, in your view, can Pakistan try something like this again ever in the future? B, you are a foremost wargaming expert of the country. Should Pakistan try? How have circumstances changed in 25 years, if they have indeed?
A very interesting question, Arnab, but before I answer, with your kind permission, I'd like to pay a tribute to those 523 officers, JCOs, Jawans who were martyred in the Kargil War. I would personally like to pay a tribute to the 6 boys who were martyred in my unit, 6 J&K rifles, and 21 who were wounded. One of them, like Preetham, lost both his eyes. You know, it breaks my heart to see him still walk with a walking stick. We won 1 Veer Chakra posthumous. We had 4 Sena medals. We had 20, army chief and army commanders commendation cards. My unit got the chief's citation for bravery and for a terrific performance there. We were heavily shelled. We were mortared. AD guns, anti-tank guns blasting away. And I'd like to pay a tribute through you, Arnab, to those boys of my unit personally, to whom I owe such a great deal. I mean, they asked for so little and they gave so much. They asked for so little and they gave so much. You know, Arnab, this Kargil war is a saga of blood, guts and glory. The best tribute came from an NLI trooper who was talking to some American correspondents. And you know what he said? Those Indians were crazy. They kept crawling up those mountain slopes like ants. We kept shooting. Our trigger fingers began to ache, but they would not stop. They just kept coming on and on and on. This is a tribute from the enemy. The Americans said the Indian army is an army that truly fights. You know, Arnab, can it happen again? I have serious doubts. The last gaps that we had was in this Dras, Batalik sector. We had 4 major gaps, one of about 24 kilometers, 9 kilometers, 2 gaps, and one of 3 kilometers, right? This is the gaps that Pakistan exploited. Every year the post used to come down in winter because there were heavy 40 feet of snow, avalanches, and it was extremely dangerous for the troops to be out there. Pakistan took advantage of that. 5 battalions of the Northern Light Infantry, posing as terrorists, came in there, you know, and occupied about 100 posts over 120-kilometer frontage overlooking the National Highway 1 Alpha to bring direct artillery and small arms fire. He thought that this way, you know, all our troops in Ladakh and in the Siachen Glacier would be left hanging, and he could then reopen the Kashmir question. You know, Arnab, that was the time that this is a seminal conflict. It was fought against a nuclear backdrop. Both countries had become nuclear just recently in 1998. And that is the most dangerous time in the first when your nuclear deterrence hasn't really settled down and Musharraf tried to gamble. But the fact is, we created the space between nuclear war and, limited war or between low intensity conflict. And we gave a befitting reply. Our boys crawled up those slopes, yard by bloody yard, Arnab, and the artillery. I had the good fortune to then, after my Kargil tenure, come into the Military Operations Directorate. I was Director MO5 in the Military Operations Directorate, from where we planned and moved all the resources there. We had milked the strike corps for the Bofors guns, and they played a stellar role, Arnab. It was not neutralization shoots, it was destruction shoots. Shooting, direct firing with the Bofors, blasting the posts. And this stunned the enemy. And then we had the Air Force come in to do interdiction, use laser-guided bombs at Munthor Dalo, destroy their logistic bases. Arnab, it was fantastic.
Incredible.
What a comeback from surprise to reckoning.
So very well said,
General
sir.
Malik calls it.
Very well
now,
said, sir.
Can it happen again? I don't think so. But Arnab, we can do it to them. Very significant in the light of what is happening now. We can do it to them. There are a number of sectors where they are vulnerable, and I think it is about time to pay back that compliment.
Yes, sir, you've said that, and I'm totally with you in that. On several programs, I have supported you on that. Lastly, waiting patiently is Captain Akhilesh Saxena. At that time, he was a young artillery forward observation officer directing the firing of 120 RT guns on Tololing Peak. He has shared war moments with Captain Vikram Batra, Major Acharya, Major Vivek Gupta, Captain Vijayant. Ladies and gentlemen, and I want him to just end with a living account of what he has. Just share one moment which you think will inspire everyone watching the program tonight.
So,
Captain.
Yes, and thanks Arnab. First of all, I will, thanks for inviting me with this esteemed panel. My lot of respect to them. It's a day of mixed pain and pride for me. Pain because I have lost so many of my close like brothers, and Captain Vikram Batra, father is there. I will tell one small incident about Captain Vikram Batra. But before that, General Bakshi was talking about how Indian Army was working like crazy, like they were coming after one another. So when we were given that Tololing, it was a difficult question, right? How we will go ahead on the Tololing where the 5-6 attacks were already failed. Enemy was super confident that we cannot take Tololing. So Colonel Ravindra called me and he said, Captain Akhilesh, the differentiator, one of the differentiator is going to be the massive artillery fire. And you have to ensure that this artillery fire is destroying the enemy so that our commandos are able to move up. But that we kind of taken the resolve that we are going to do that. But we also knew that this may be our last day. We decided that we are going to win this for our country, for our flag. But we know we may not come back. And one incident I want to share that, many of us have written our last letter to our family members, right? Because we are also father to somebody, husband to somebody. I was newly married. I have written to my father, mother, and my wife and this letter was sealed. And if you come and you win, you tear out of this letter. But if you don't come back, they go to your family. And the first line is, when you get it, I will not be there. But please don't be sad, because this is the one thing I've taken worth for, and in next life also, if I will come, I will like to join army. So these were the spirit that we were able to, move ahead despite certain death. But on the other side, Pakistan is famous for backstabbing. Another incident, when we reached Tololing and the body of Major Vikas Adhikari was there. So the first thing we asked our Jawan to remove the body and give it all the respect. But can you think of a professional army, and Pakistan can go up to any extent of ditching and deceiving and going down to the low value. When my Jawan was just lifting up the leg, there was a mine and it blasted. And in front of our eyes, one leg of a Jawan, it flown in the air, right? They have put the mines with the dead body. One side, say, Indian Army, which is very high on the ethics, value system, even in the difficulty. And on the other side is Pakistan Army, which can stoop to any level. So that was the thing.
Right.
And just, I will like to end with the Captain Vikram Batra. Just take 2 more 30 seconds. When Captain Vikram Batra I met, we have won the Tololing top, and Captain Vikram Batra was given his first attack, which was 0.150. And I was just giving him some of the hint that enemy can go up to any extent. So he really need to be careful. And one tactics which enemy apply, they send their sniper to the one side and they try to take on the leader, so that you shoot the leader and then the entire attack is, disorganized. I was telling him that you need to be careful. I still remember his one dialogue. He told me, sir, you have won, you are newly married, but you people have not thought about your life when you were attacking the Tololing. And you got us the victory on Tololing, which was the turning point for the entire Kargil war. Now it is my turn. I am going to get 0.5140. And that thing which you are telling me about the sniper.
Yes.
So sir, let me tell you, अभी तक तो वो बुलेट बनी नहीं है पाकिस्तान के अम्यूनिशन डिपो में जिसमें कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा का नाम हो. So he was like जिंदा दिल, full of energy, and that's why with such officers and with such josh, we got that Kargil despite all difficulties. Arnab, back to you.
Thank you, Captain Akhilesh Saxena. Thank you, Brigadier Amol Asthana. Thank you, General G.D. Bakshi, General Pannu. Thank you, Mr. Batra, and thank you very much, Jeffrey Nongrum, for joining me. I would, in conclusion, just say 2 things, viewers. I'll be direct about it. This has been one of the toughest battles in the world that we have won in some of the most difficult situations. Terrain, it has been a difficult trial. Second, we can never trust Pakistan. We can't change our neighbors, but we must never let down our guard. And thirdly, viewers, I think when people are talking about rewriting the history in our school books, it is very necessary that all school children read in detail about Kargil, the circumstances of the war, the circumstances in which it was won, and the importance that it has for every Indian citizen. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon. Good night and goodbye.